What is going on, guys? My name is Aaron, and today we've actually got a couple of things to do. Finally have some PTO, but my buddy Leon is coming down from Albuquerque here in a couple of days, and we're gonna go film the low-class militia event here in San Antonio. It's the first one in San Antonio, and they sold it out. 250 cars are going to be there in that little convention center, so it's going to be crazy. But because I have some time off and it's an absolutely beautiful day, we're going to work on the Miata as well. It needs some insane cleaning. How do I keep getting dust in here, bro? I keep getting little specks of dirt all over, because like, if you own a Miata, you know, especially if it's a convertible, but the seals on the windows suck like horribly, and so it's not waterproof, like minimally waterproof. It's definitely not wind and dust proof. So cold start. Oh man, that was a long battle getting this thing to run right. Like, this is the best it's run since I've had it, so it's really awesome. But these are the bolts that we're going to change out on the bucket seat, and we'll cover this a little bit better here in a minute. M8 by 1.25. They're 20 millimeters long. The NRG like factory bolts on here are hex bolts. And I'm sure they have a reason for that, and maybe for certain people that's really easy, but for me, because this is a large bucket seat, it barely fits in the car as it is, and so trying to fit an Allen key down inside of there to make adjustments is like almost impossible. So we're gonna switch it out to be actual bolts, and that way getting a wrench down there will be a lot easier than a hex key, and you can run these most of the way in by hand. Much easier. They're also flanged, so I don't need washers, so that'll be a little bit easier as well. And then the other one is I got some 194 LEDs. We're gonna change out the bulbs behind the cluster here. This generation has the red bulbs. The NB1 had green, but the NB2, they came out with red, which I think it looks a lot nicer, but the way that the bulbs were made back in the day is that they literally dipped the bulb into a colored rubber, which means they're coated with a rubber and they're not bright now. So we're gonna change them out to be actual white LEDs, because I think that just looks much cleaner, and it's gonna add a little bit of a newer touch to the car. Now that we're warmed up, let's go park in front of the garage so I have access to all my tools. I don't mind sitting outside today because, again, it's like in the 60s. It's really, really nice today. This was the solution that I came up with to get the little Allen wrench bolts in there. It's a little itty bitty tiny socket, but it fits little drill attachments. So this is like, you know, what you would put in a drill. A little tiny socket, put that in there. It comes out to the same roughly width as an Allen key, but because it ratchets, I don't have to pull it out, adjust it, put it back in, fight to get it aligned perfectly, and then do it again. I can just go. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull these guys out real quick, and then we'll continue. All right, we got the passenger side of the seat released, so that side is good. I also removed the plastic protector that I forgot back there. There was a little strip that I couldn't reach. So I was able to finally reach that and pull that off. That's nice. Just gotta do the driver's side over here real quick, and then the seat will be free. I marked the holes where it currently sits. I went ahead and undid the slider function as well, right here. That way I could slide the seat forward a bit and reach better. And it made it quite a bit easier, so that was worth doing that. So it will have to go further back after all, once I'm done getting the new bolts in. But yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. I think the amount of time it saved me to just undo the slider is probably worth just doing it. So we're gonna keep going. All right, I got them both out, so the seat was officially free, and I pushed the front down. I think I'm gonna do the fronts first, just to get them locked in, and then I'll do the rears after, because there's slightly more room not much, but slightly more room to get a rear bolt in there than to get the front one. So we're gonna get the fronts first. That way I have, you know, the ability to kind of twist the seat around if I need to. And then after we get the fronts in and finger tightened, we'll do the rears. So I went one down in the front, which I think is as far as I can go before it's just gonna hit the floor. So we're gonna go from there and see how it goes. But yeah, the flange is nice. I don't have to deal with little washers now. And these are grade 10, so they're probably stronger than the ones that came with it, to be honest. They're like 10.1 or something, so.
A few minutes later.
20 millimeter length is enough to mount the seat to most harnesses, most brackets and stuff like that. However, the way that I am mounting my seat belt, is mounting the seat belt directly to the outside of the harness. I'll try to zoom in my editing, that way you guys can see that exactly, but 20 millimeters is not long enough to go through the seat belt and then through the mounting hardware into the seat. It just isn't quite long enough. The most I could get it to go in was maybe like 2 or 3 turns, and then it would either, like, I would start to crank on it and it would pop out, or it would finger tight almost to where I would need the wrench, and then it would pop out. So it just didn't quite have enough to grab onto. So if that's how you're mounting your seat belt, go with 25 millimeter, it'll reach all the way through. I used the original NRG bolt for that one particular, because it's easier to just throw one little Allen key in there and tighten that down than for me to go to the hardware store and buy a kit of minimum 5 bolts when I only need 1. So we're doing that for that corner. So just keep in mind, 20 millimeters is enough for the other corners, but if you're using the seat belt in there, go with the 25s. Okay, I've got all 4 corners torqued down. I don't really have a way of getting them torque spec'd by any way, so I don't have any way of getting them torque spec'd, so I just threw about 16.5 ugga-duggas on each one. Yeah, so enough that I'm confident I'm not gonna die. Next, I do need to get it slid back and a little bit to the left, because as you can see, I can no longer clear this little pillar here. The seat technically has to sit just kind of like this. Obviously not that bad, but just enough that I can bow this corner in a bit, kind of like that, and then back. And we're gonna slide all the way back until we hit that harness. This is gonna be a lot easier to do with my body weight, so I'm going to sit in the seat and then push back. And once I get it where I like it, I'll just reach down and I'll tighten down the front 2 sliders. That way it won't go anywhere. And then I can hop out and do the back 2. And probably lose half the skin on my arm trying to reach under the seat. But I honestly don't know how well that's gonna record this, so hopefully you can see. Oh wow, dude, that's way lower. Oh my god, my legs completely clear the wheel. Yo, oh my god. Okay, cool. Let me push the seat back. That's it in the harness. Oh my god, that's so much room. Holy shit. I'm sorry I'm cursing. This is just so much nicer. Oh my god. Look. Before, my legs were like this, so I had enough room to do that and I could turn the wheel. But now, if my feet are on the pedals, I can completely clear. Oh my god. And this is kind of where the, oh my god, I can see under the window instead of having to do this. I can just look. Oh, this is so much better. This is exactly what I got the bucket seat for. It was to sit exactly like this. Oh my god, this is so much better. And then the harness still fits perfectly in the holes in the back of the seat. If I went up a little bit more, I think the harness would be too low. So this is freaking mint, absolutely mint. So hell yeah. Okay, now that I got the seat fully mounted, we're gonna go ahead and remove the gauge clusters. First thing you want to do is remove the screws from down here at the bottom of the steering column cover, and there's 3 of them. And then you're just going to pull straight down. That's going to separate into 2 pieces, just like that. And then I'm going to pull straight forward to remove the cover, and then there's going to be, if you're looking directly at it, there's going to be 4 screws. You got one there, there, and then you've got one here and here. Take those 4 out, and the cluster will be able to be moved freely. So let's do that real quick. All right, and then once you've got those 4 little screws out, it literally just comes out just like this. So there is a harness, a couple harnesses on the back, but if you move it up like this, and I'm looking through the steering wheel, if I had a quick release tomorrow, that would be much easier. But looking at it right here, let me adjust that. Looking at it right here, there should be 4 194 bulbs, and that's why I got 2 packs of 2. According to the forums, there's only 4 of them. However, when I was looking at it, it kind of didn't. Actually, it might be this. Might be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that actually kind of makes sense. It's probably this here. Oh yeah. See how it's a literal rubber dipped bulb? That's why it's super dull, because it's literally just a regular bulb that they painted pretty much, and so it doesn't emit very much light. So we're gonna change that out with some nice bright LEDs.
Several days later.
All right, and just like that, I got everything put back together. I am kind of a dummy though. I just realized that I didn't actually buy LEDs. I just bought brighter light incandescent bulbs. So because they're incandescents and not LEDs, 1, I saved money, and then 2, they are not polarity dependent, I think is the kind of proper term for it. And basically what that means is they have to be turned a certain way, that way the positive and negatives are connected the way that they need to be inside of the little adapters. That you might connect everything and realize that one bulb isn't working because it has to be flipped. Nice thing about incandescents, you can just put them in any direction and they work. It is a little bit sunny out still, so I can't block out all the light, but here's off. Let me get you guys all the way in there. Here's with them off, and here's with them on. So not a huge difference in brightness. However, the fact that they're not red anymore will make the the fact that they're not red bulbs anymore will make the little needles stand out more. You'll actually be able to tell a difference between regular RPMs and red line, because now red will actually stand out. And yeah, got everything put back together. This is the little shitty bulb that was in it. It's literally a rubber dipped, like it's literally a rubber housing over a regular incandescent bulb. So you could probably even just very carefully remove the rubber. However, because this is 22 years old or something like that, yeah, 22 years old, this rubber probably won't come off. So I'm just gonna throw them in there because they all do work, and at least I have backups in case I ever need them. And yeah, besides that, adjusting the seat nice and comfortable. I also got my GoPro mount put up finally so I can get some first-person footage, because my head still sits just a little bit too high to put the GoPro here. Because if I put the GoPro here, you guys will just be looking at pretty much this. So we don't want that. So I went ahead and got the mount put there. That way I can solidly mount the GoPro, and it'll make steadier footage anyway. And then I'll probably put another mount somewhere along that pillar there. Maybe even along, like, maybe right here somewhere? I don't know. I have to find another spot for it. Maybe even along the door card, just so I can mount the GoPro and get some kind of like some footage this way while I'm driving. That way I'm not just having to throw you guys on the dash. But yeah, pretty productive little day. Just a couple little projects. But I think the white light will make a much more modern feel in here. I am by far so much more comfortable in the seat now. It fits exactly why I bought it, was to fit nice and low and be bolstered. And yeah, just feel a little bit safer in this actually really unsafe car. But unfortunately, because I pulled the steering wheel off, there's officially no airbag in here. So your boy's gonna die. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Just a little kind of chill weekday video. I'm on PTO this week, so I'm gonna pump out as much content as I can this week. Gonna just, whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna record it for you guys, that way I can have some constant footage up this week. Really excited for low class this weekend. Really excited to see my buddy from Albuquerque. It's been a while. Excited to make some cool content, but my battery's about to die on the GoPro. So thank you guys so much for watching. Drink water, be safe, and I will see you guys in the next video.